Hello everyone, welcome today. So let's wait for the others. Just 16 joined today. How you doing, guys? How you doing? I'm low on energy today. I've been busy the whole day, so ah, let's see how it goes. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So we have 34 members in the group, so we're supposed to have more students here. I just trade and drift Luke and take care of my family, of course. So yeah. I didn't organize all the refinements today, so it's just gonna be random combo after one. So let's see. Gee, thank you, bro. Thank you. Okay, so let's just start it out in the meantime. So today, today's session, we're gonna basically talk about the entries. So how's the introduction for that is gonna go? So entries, you're always gonna follow storyline. Okay. How are you gonna follow the storyline? You simply log into your chart, go to the daily, which is the most important storyline. You're gonna identify the recent storyline. Okay, so in this case, I'm gonna go to the last daily candlestick and see if we rejected any level from the bottom. In this case, we did reject this one. Do we have an H4 bullish breakout? I don't think so. So did we reject anything from the top? I don't see anything there. So you just keep going until you find your daily reject daily, which in this case is this one, right? So you have the daily reject daily right here, and you go to the H4, find your storyline here. We have a bullish breakout, so it is a bullish storyline. Once you find that your storyline is bullish, you're gonna be focusing, okay, 90% on buys, okay, and 10% for sells. If you want to play safe, don't even focus on sells. Okay, so don't try to counter trade. But I'm still gonna teach you how to do that. So if you're gonna be focusing on buys, okay, because the storyline is bullish on the daily, you're going to be holding the buys for at least 120 pips, okay, from your entry. But if the daily and the weekly are aligned with each other, let's say the daily is bullish and the weekly is bullish, you're going to be holding your trades for at least 220 pips, okay, if that is the minimum target. And after that target, what's your next one? It's the next daily level or weekly fresh level. So you have daily right here, and then you're gonna be having another daily right there, right? Price, any entry you get, you're gonna hold it for 120 pips, which is the minimum target. If you're happy with that, close it. If you're on a prop firm, you hit your phase one target, phase two target, or whatever you're happy with. If not, then hold it to the next daily. If the weekly is bullish, hold it to the next weekly. Okay, so yeah, that is basically how you approach the entries from following the storyline. But when you're against the storyline, the only entry type that you're going to use, basically two entry types that you're going to use. The first one is the momentum that we talked before. That is good for counter trading. And the second one is going to be the high risk entry type. What is a high risk entry type? So a high risk entry type is something like this. See, daily, H4 breakout, and a daily reject daily, right? So you're gonna have a daily reject daily, and then an H4 bullish breakout. Price tends to pull back entry, whatever. So the high risk counter trade. Okay, I'm teaching you this because it's the simplest one, the easiest one. So let's just get rid of it out of the way. So you have your daily destination. Your daily destination is an A level. Okay, let's pretend it's an A level, or just say it's an A level. And for the sake of this example, it's an A level. Okay, it has a wick right here. Okay, and a small wick right here. Price is approaching this daily. Okay, you can instantly sell on it if you have an M15 momentum and it is aligning with one of the combos, weekly, monthly, daily, or weekly, or daily, monthly, or monthly, weekly. Okay, so one of these combos you can use the momentum. But if it is a daily alone, how do you counter trade this? So you're gonna have wicks right here, correct? You're gonna have wicks right here. In these wicks, you're gonna go one time frame lower to the H4. Okay, and look for the extreme fresh level in here. So you're going to have another A level on the H4. Okay, that is the one you're going to be executing your trade in. right? No, you're gonna go one time frame lower. Okay, you're not gonna stop on H4. You're gonna go to the H1 and do the same thing that you did with daily and H4, and that is the time frame you're gonna be executing your trades in. So let's take a look at some examples right here. So here we were bullish. Okay, we were bullish. Sorry, we were bullish from here. Okay. Daily reject daily, and then just a minute. My trading view is not working here. Can you guys hear me? Okay. I think it's better now. Okay, it's good. So here you have your H4 breakout, bullish breakout. We touched this daily. H4 bullish breakout. Now, where is your next daily fresh? When you go back to the daily time frame, you're gonna find, why is my trading view so laggy, bro? Okay, so you're gonna go to the next daily fresh. Where is your next daily fresh? It's right here. Okay, but you're not gonna be entering of this alone. You have a big ass wick right here. So you're gonna go to the H4. Come on, trading view. So you're gonna go to the H4, find the extreme H4 right here, and then you can be happy with this, but if it still has a big ass wick, you can go to the H1. Okay, so you go to the H1 and find the extreme level in there. So you go to the H1 right here. Come on, man. Okay, the H1 in this case is at the same place as you can see right here. So the H1 aligns with the H4 at the same place. Okay, so this is a good level to execute your high risk sell. Okay, I call it high risk for a reason. You're not going to be risking 1% of that prop firm with this entry type or 2%. You're just going to go with 0.5% or a small lot on your personal account. This works, okay, and you can catch a big swing from this, like the sniper entry there. So as you can see right here, price, boom, exactly right there, and you could have got somewhere around 191 pips. Okay, so the TP for this entry type can go from 60 pips to 100 pips. It depends on how price leaves with the momentum. So you're always going to go back and check with the momentum. So if M15 leaves in a fast way, or in the next 1 hour price goes so fast, just TP at 100 pips. If price is chopping around or whatever, TP at 60 pips. Okay, break even at 30 pips for this certain entry type. As you can see here, H4 aligning with H1 and the daily. So this is your target. Now price want to go higher again. Where is the next fresh level? The next fresh level is right here, and you would want to refine that to the H4, H1. Same thing for this daily right here. So you just go to the H4 and refine those. So here the H4 is simply a gap. Okay, you don't want to take a gap from a daily refinement to the H4 gap, especially when it is high risk. You don't want to take this. You always want to take an A level. Okay, do not take a gap after daily. So in this case, it is a gap. I don't want to be taking that. But what about this one? This one is an H4 at the same place of a daily, and we can refine it down to the H1. And then on the H1, there is a higher level in here, but is this higher level fresh? No, it is not fresh. When your level is not fresh, you look for a higher level that is fresh, the one you marked. So basically we had this one in the first place. So you're not gonna look lower for a fresh level to sell. To sell, you're always gonna look higher from this level and higher only, okay? So this one is not fresh. So where is the next freshest A level in this case? It is this one, okay? So this is the one you're going to be executing yourself from. It's not going to be basically this one, okay? Understood? Any questions for now? In this case, as you can see here, it did not touch it. So any questions for now? Okay, all clear, amazing. So your stop loss for this certain entry type is going to be 25 pips. If you have spread of 2 pips, just put it off on 27 pips stop loss, okay? And always check on the momentum on how price leaves. This is for your first entry type. So the first entry type, you can call it basically the target entry, because you're going to be targeting the next daily level and simply refining it down to a lower time frames and finding the extreme level in H4, refining it down to the H1 and entering off of that with 27 pips stop loss if you have spread. Again, TPing depending on the momentum. That is simply it. Or you can TP to the next entry. Let's say you're bullish on storyline. Okay, say you're bullish right here. Okay, and then you target the daily. So you're gonna sell until the next entry, boom, and then buy again. Okay, so you're gonna understand this after we finish the session. No worries. So here is your first entry type, the target entry. It is a high risk. So the next entry type is very classic, okay, but is very efficient. So you're gonna have a daily, and you're gonna have a daily rejection, and an H4 breakout right here. Your next target is going to be the next first daily, as we said. Now, the second entry type that we're going to talk about is actually here low risk. Okay, it's going to be a high win rate. Okay, and you can risk that 2% on this entry type. So price after the breakout tends to always pulls back, not always, but tends to pull back and then go up. Pull back to where? To this zone. You see here from this breakout area down to the bottom V level, it tends to pull back to either here, or the extreme, and then go up. Sometimes it just keeps going up after the break. It break and then just pulls back, break, pull back, break, and then go back up. I can show you in this scenario also how to get an entry from here and here, and even if it doesn't pull back in this area. Now, how do you entry if it pulls back? Now, the first scenario is pulling back just right here, reacting from a simple gap right here, and then going up. The second example is it goes down to the QM right here, and then goes up. The third example is it goes to the extreme, which is the best example. This is the best entry type. Like, this is very, very low risk, because if price wants to actually go up after it goes bullish on storyline, it will certainly react from the last resort level, because if it breaks this, then it simply means the storyline failed. Okay, so, and the storyline rarely fails, so this level rarely fails. Okay, price pulls back to the extreme. Of course, the extreme is going to be on the H4. Okay, we're going to talk about the refinements in a bit. So it's going to be on the H4, and you're going to refine it down to the H1. If it has a big wick, you're always going to check with the H1, and then price pulls back, you entry. The stop loss for this entry type is a 30 pips. Okay, if price pulls back to the extreme, just entry instantly. Okay, H4 refine, H1 extreme entry. You're not going to do anything. But how do you know if price is going to react from here or here? This is where we're going to use the M5 DL, basically decisional level on M5. Okay, you might have heard this term, but people use it on H4, H1. This is a different concept, but it's just the same name, decisional level. Okay, so how are you going to use the decisional level in this area? So you're not going to use that on here. You're simply going to enter instantly. I'm going to show you an example here. Just give me a second. I think we had a daily the last few weeks, because this entry type does not occur a lot, but when it does, it goes very well. Now, let me just see this right here. Yeah. So you guys remember when we were on our session, I told you that I'm looking for an entry in this area right here. I'm looking for an entry in this area. If you guys remember, and I shared my entry with you right here going up. Okay, so how did I get the entry? And why I was so confident with spamming all those buys, because it was a low risk entry. Daily reject, daily H4 breakout, H4 pull back to the extreme level, find to H1 and then entry. So I think, yeah, it was with you guys. I explained that I'm gonna look for buys in this area. Yeah, I did. In the last few minutes of the session, I told you about this entry. Now here, let's take a look at it. So daily reject daily, right here. Let's just play it back right here. So you're gonna have a daily reject daily, and then you go and check with the H4. So wait, that's not the daily reject daily that I'm looking at. It's just confusing. Let's just go into this. Yeah, exactly. So when you put your vertical line, as I explained, when you get confused with the price action, just like I did right now, it's okay. You're just going to look at the new daily candle when it's open, because you want to see where price touched the level. Okay, I'm not going to explain this again. If you're confused, go watch the previous recording. So here, price touched the daily, and we did our daily reject daily plus the H4 breakout. Now, after the H4 breakout, price tends to pull back to one of these levels. It can be this one, it can be this one, it can be that one. But where is the last resort level that price cannot break? It is simply this one, the extreme. Now, as you can see in this case, it is fresh. Okay, here we did not touch it. So you would want to refine it down to the H1. Now on the H1, it is the same place. So just execute your buys there. This is the reason why I was spamming my buys, because it is the best entry type, basically. The reject daily, H4 breakout, and then the H4 pulls back to the extreme level. It has no reason for it to break this unless it wants to completely fail the storyline, as I said, which rarely happens. Now, in this case, as you can see, price went in a bit of drawdown, 19.7 pips, which is totally fine, okay? And then on the buy, you would want to target the next daily. So where is your next daily? Your next daily was, I'm not really sure here, there was no daily, whatever. So if you don't have a daily there, put either a fixed pip target or a previous daily high. As you can see, this is a daily candle. This is the previous daily high. This is going to be your target. Okay, price goes up, goes down again. Now here in this case, it would have hit your break even. Now, as you can see, it did not hit your stop loss, but it would hit your break even. Now, price gave us 165 pips. Now this 165 pips, you're obviously going to take some partials. Some of you trade in prop firms. That's almost, I don't know how much RR is that, but most of you are going to be so happy with it. Just see right here. That is around 5.65 R. Let's say you risk 2%, okay? Because with Malaysian SNR, the win rate is high. Don't be afraid to risk more than 1%, okay? I'm not saying risk 3 or 4%, but go with that 1.5%, 2%. In this trade, if you risk 2%, that is more than 10%, okay, per trade. So you're going to be happy with that. So your break even for this entry type is going to be after 80 pips. Okay, you want to give space for this entry type. You don't want this entry type to fail, or you want to get out of it so fast. Just give it space. 80 pips, take in profit, then put the break even. So I'm going to show you the same entry type on a higher time frame. So weekly reject, weekly, daily breakout, daily pullback, and daily apex. Boom. So here, the apex is basically the last resort level. Okay. Now you have a weekly, and you're going to have a weekly reject, weekly right here, and a daily breakout. So daily breakout, daily pullback to the last level, boom. Okay, bye. Very simple. Let's take a look at our weekly reject weekly. I think it was somewhere around here. Weekly reject weekly, and then daily bearish breakout. Yeah, and then daily bearish breakout, as you can see here, where we did our breakout, and then this is the extreme on the daily. And here we got our sell. So you would want to find that, as we said. So that is your sell. Now, in the first example, we talked about it as if it's being a high risk entry. Now, if you see it from this perspective, weekly daily breakout, it is a low risk entry type. Okay, so well, just like that. Okay. Any questions for now? Clear. Amazing. Daily reject daily, H4 breakout. Now, for the next examples, let's not say that price is going to pull back to the apex. It will never pull back to the apex in this example, okay? It's going to pull back in this area. So from this high down to any level in this area. How do you take your entries? So you're going to have here, you're going to have 2 gaps, for example. You're going to have the QM. You're going to have whatever, okay? So you're going to have 4 levels in here. Let's say there are 4 levels. The first way, okay, there are 2 ways to identify, basically actually 3 ways to identify which level is going to react and which level is not. So the first simplest way, if you guys are slow learners, whatever, you're quite lazy, which works totally fine. I still use this to this day. So price is going to pull back to one of the levels. Okay, let's say it goes in here. Of course, you're going to check if the H4 and H1 are both fresh. If H4 is fresh and H1 is unfresh, you're going to take off the level. Okay, now this is an RBS. In this example, this is an RBS. I don't want to take an entry on RBS. Okay, so let's simply remove it. Remove this one. Price is pulling back to this gap. Now we have an H4 gap and an H1 also is fresh, H4 fresh, H1 fresh, you're going to be using the time frame M5, okay? M5. What you're going to do on M5, you're going to look for a certain pattern. You're going to look for a breakout. Okay, simply we can see something like this. Okay, you want price to break this on M5 in that zone after we touch that gap. Okay, let's say this is a gap right here. You want to see something like this. Okay, this is the simplest way to use the M5. Now, this is not a decisional level. Okay, price after the breakout pulls back to the QM, and then you buy with 20 pips stop loss when you use the M5. Now, the second way to use M5 is when you have a push down, price is going to leave a gap, okay, and then breaks it. Now, if price breaks it by a lot of movement, a lot of pips, you would want price to pull back to the gap and then buy. Okay, now this example, just here, we're having this. Okay, we're having this example on M5. This is on H4, this is on M5. You're gonna have M5 gap break. If it breaks way too far, you wait for the pullback to the gap that we broke. But if it just breaks like this, if it simply breaks something just slightly above, you're gonna wait for the pullback to the V level right here. Okay, you're gonna wait for the pullback to the V level right here, and then you would want to enter your buy here with 20 pips stop loss. So if that does not happen, if price just keeps going lower than this level, you're not gonna be entering the buy right here. You're gonna look for the same pattern down there. Okay, very simple, guys. M5 here. If it doesn't show that, then go right here. Now, is this H4 fresh with H1? If yes, then go look for the M5. If the H1 is not fresh, then just simply ignore it. Now, the same thing goes with the QM. This is the first way to identify if level is going to react on one of these levels instead of the apex. Okay, let me just show you an example here on the chart. So let's take let's take this example right here of the H4 apex. Even if it's an apex, I can still show you the example here. So let's see. I think it's an M5. Okay, my trading view is weird today, so let's just give it a moment. Come on, man. Can you guys see my screen clearly? Is it like laggy or some shit? I don't know. Look at this, bro. I don't know what's going on here. Let me just refresh. Okay, amazing, amazing. Now, price here went down. Okay, as you can see here, went down on M5. Now, where is the last gap? This is your last gap right here. So you would want to wait for this to get broken. If it breaks it by way too far, you're gonna wait for the pullback to this gap and then entry. But in this case, of course, we're not stupid. We're not gonna wait for this whole M5 to break, because this is a lot of pips. Okay, you don't want to wait this whole much. So you're gonna look for the same pattern if it gets created again lower. Okay, now I forgot to tell you the third example, which is a gap breaking a gap. This is the decisional level. This is H1 entry key level, and here is you have your gap. We have your gap right here, and right before we break this gap, let's say we in the second example we break this gap. If you break it closely, you're gonna wait for a pullback to the V, enter. If it closes it way too far, and then you just wait pullback to the gap and then entry. But what if price creates a gap before this gap? This is the pattern you're gonna be looking at. If the gap is way too far, or you just simply have it. Okay, in this case you have something like this, a gap that got created broke this gap, right? This is a decisional level, a gap that broke a gap. If you just see this anywhere inside the level, after you touch it, before you touch it, it doesn't matter. You wait for the pullback to this level or to this level. If they are close with each other, it doesn't matter, just pick the first one. If they are far, just pick this one, pull back, and then you're gonna enter. Okay, so here, what do you have? A gap breaking a gap right here. This gap breaking a gap. Now they are close to each other, so it doesn't matter where you enter, but if it's there is a difference between them, so you're just gonna enter on the lower one. This is your entry with 25 stop loss. Okay. I personally suggest you always start with 30 pips. I personally started with 50 pips stop loss when I first learned Malaysian SNR, so I just gave it a shot in order to get used to these concepts. So if you don't feel comfortable with a tight stop loss, go with that 30 pips. Okay, always fix 30 pips. The reason why I lower my stop loss is after I gain some experience, it rarely goes to that 28, 27 pips drawdown and then go up. So I just use 25. Okay. Now, where is your TP? Your TP can be a fixed target of 100 pips, depends on how price moves away from the momentum, or the next in daily if you're aligned with the storyline. Okay, so this is the M5 decisional level. Okay, any questions about this? You have three types of M5 confirmations. You have the M5 normal breakout, the M5 gap break, and the M5 decisional level. So any questions? Okay. Amazing. So everything is clear. I'm that good of a teacher. Yeah, I know, guys. Thank you. Gap break, can we use in? No, you can't use that. Only on M5. Okay, only on M5. Amazing. So after this, after you knew how to get these certain entry types, price pulls back, entry, it can give you that 100 pips and then pulls back to the apex and then go up again. So don't be greedy and holding all your trades unless you're crazy like me, which I do that. I personally have when storyline starts with the pencil. When storyline starts, I personally take 20 setups. 15 of them are break even, 2 losings, 2 losses, and 3 that are winners. But these 3 winners are more than 600 plus pips in profit. Okay, so if you're crazy like me, just swing every single setup. But if you, I personally don't suggest to do that, guys. Okay, start consistently with a fixed pip target. As I said, aligning with the storyline, 120 pips, weekly, daily storyline, 220 pips. Okay, so the next entry type that we're going to be talking about is how you're still going to be taking entries after the breakout. So you say you have a daily right here. And your next daily is going to be up there. Okay. You have an H4 breakout. Price pulls back to one of these levels, use M5 or whatever, and then goes up. How do you still take your entries? Now, after price goes up, it's going to leave and create some levels in here. It's going to leave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 levels in this example. Now, the first way to enter on these levels is the same way. You just wait for pullback, check if H4 fresh with H1, and then use the M5 and enter, M5 enter, M5 enter. This is very simple. Okay, you can use that, or you can use the refinements. Now we're going to talk about the refinements. So the first combo you're going to be looking at is the H4 A or V level, aligning with H1 A or V level. Now here, when price goes up, okay, you have an H4 A or V level. In this case, it's a V because we're looking for buys. And when you go down to the H1, you're gonna see an A or a V level. In this case, it's also a V. So when they are both fresh, just take it. Okay, simply take it. Boom. Okay, simply take it. So do not wait for a confirmation or whatever. This is a continuation that you're going to take. So the second continuation entry type is when you have an H4 A or B level, okay? But the H1 is not fresh, simply having a lot of wicks on it. So what do you do in this case when you have H4, the H1 that is unfresh? It doesn't matter if it's a gap, A or B. So you simply look for the next H1 freshest. So let's say here you have your H4, H4 right here, and then on H1 it is not fresh, it's unfresh. So what you're gonna do, since you're gonna buy, is your refinement going to be higher or lower? It's going to be lower. So you're gonna look for the next fresh H1, and the next fresh H1 preferably should be an A or V. In this example, we have a V right here, but when it's way too far, you're just gonna simply pick the gap. Okay, price is just gonna pull back to the gap and then enter instantly. Okay, now this is the second combo. The third combo is when you have H4 gap aligning with H1 gap. So when you have an H4 gap and an H1 gap, this is like the least good entry type. So I would only use it if it's the only existing one there. Let's say you have like a bullish move right here, and everything is unfresh. The only reason where I would enter an H4 gap, H1 gap, fresh, is when they are the only levels that exist in there. Like this is the only setup I have, so there I enter. If I have a combo, let's say I have an H4 A or V aligning with H1 A or V, right below it, I would instantly ignore this and then buy. Okay, so what do you do when you find this and this? You either wait and buy on this, or you would want to refine your H1 gap to an H1 V or A. So gap on H4. When you go down on H1, you're gonna see a V level, so you're gonna take that instead. Okay, so you're gonna take that instead of the gap. Price pulls back and then goes up. Now I'm just gonna show you some few examples here. Let me just take a look. Now here, this down move, okay, this down move, let's take a look at some H4 continuation levels. Say the storyline is bearish, and starting from head to toe. How do you take entries? Now price from here creates an A level. Okay, let's say it creates an A level here, goes down. So that is the first level that got created. Price pulls back. You refine this H4 to the H1 and find your combo. So you're gonna have H4 gap, H4 A level, aligning with an H1 gap fresh. Now you slightly above it, you have an H1 level A. Now you would say it is unfresh, but it has a CC. Now we talked about the CC in the previous session. The CC is simply a level that has a wick on it with a rejection, simply one wick with a rejection. Right? One single wick with a rejection right here, and it ends up closing bearish, aligning with the story. So when price visits it again, you would want to enter your sell. Now in this case, you have a bigger wick because look here, you have a bit of drawdown. So you can be happy with that drawdown, or when you have a wick, you can still refine it to M30 sometimes. Okay, you're not always going to be looking at M30 unless you have a big wick like this. Look at this wick, it's like 61 pips. This is a CC, bro. What do you mean per my rules? A CC is simply a level that got rejected, the line in with the direction. So this is an A level for sell. And well, I said the 10, 15 pips only on the weekly. I mentioned that in the video. If you did not hear that, then it's not my problem. Big boss. Okay. So 10, 15 pips is only for the weekly. For the H1, it doesn't matter how much it goes in drawdown. Okay, guys? It doesn't matter how much in drawdown. Yeah, on H1 entries. What time frame is this? For weekly storyline, if you want to start a storyline again from there, and an H1 entry. So as you can see here, you have an H1 aligning. Basically, you have a CC on this H1. It doesn't matter on the drawdown, okay? This example, as I said, you can be happy with the drawdown or refine it up to the M30, okay? I wouldn't go to the M30 only in this example because it has 60 pips. Now, what is your next entry type? Your next, I'm sorry, not your next entry type, whatever, your next entry. Okay, so price goes up, makes it another A level on the H4. It is fresh. Just before this, it was fresh. You would want to refine it to the H1. So H4, A level, and then H1 gap. Just slightly above the gap, you have an A level. Always when you have an A level above the gap or above the fresh level that you found on H1, just take this. When it's way too far, just keep that. Okay, that's the one you're going to be taking for your sell. Price goes up, then takes your sell. So go back to the H4. Okay, price goes down. Where is your next entry type? Your next entry type is right here. So you have an H4 gap. You would want to look for the combo H4 gap, H1 QM, H4 gap, H1 QM. Definitely you would want to take that. So price pulls back, you would want to entry there. Goes back to the H4. Okay, I didn't trade in this area, only took one sell right here. I'm literally looking at these entries for the first time with you guys. So Price goes down. Okay, it makes a new level. Now the new levels are this one, and this one. So you'd want to refine them or use the M5. But in this case, price never pulled back. Where did it create a new level? It created a new level just right here. If you just zoom in, as you can see, a new gap. So H4 gap, you would want to refine it to the H1 and find if it is also fresh. And maybe you find an H4A level there and you want to sell on it again. Price goes down, makes a new gap. Price reacts to it. Price goes down, makes a new A level, makes a new gap. Okay, price keeps going down. Now there is one basically tip that I'm going to give you, or advice. The last continuation level that gets created before you touch your target, which in this case, the next fresh daily. So you have a daily right here. And the next daily is there. So you have H4. Okay. Continuation, pull back entry. Continuation, pull back entry. Pull back entry. So here, when you touch your daily, the last continuation, you're going to ignore it. No matter what combo it is, no matter if M5 shows you that I want to buy, just ignore it because it's simply going to get broken and wait for what price wants to do. Okay. So in this case, I'm not sure if this one is before the day. So let's just check. Yeah, as you can see here, we touched this daily. Now the last H4 is should be ignored. Okay, so once it breaks, wait for what price wants to do. In this case, it gave you daily reject, daily H4, bullish breakout, and now storyline is bullish. Now you would want to do the same with the buys. Okay, just look for buys. The session is gonna end. I'm gonna send you a new link. Okay, just give me a moment. Okay, hello, sorry, I was muted. So I'm gonna show you how I got my sell in here. How I took this very sharp sell in here. Now price was going up. Okay, bullish storyline. Now where is my next daily target? Is right here. This is the last daily target. As you can see here, it did not touch. So when you refine it down to the H4, you're gonna have this H4 level, and then simply go to the H1. Okay. Now the H1, as you can see right here, we have what? An H1A level with a CC. Okay. Now the second CC example here, as you can see, this is closing up bullish. Okay, this is bullish, but the CC on H1 only can be the rejection on the first candle and the bearish closing on the second one. Okay, so here you have the rejection, and here you have the bearish candle, which is the next one. This basically represents a CC from the second type, which you can only use on the H1. But if this bearish candle touched it twice, it wouldn't be a CC candle. Okay, so CC candle is just one rejection and a bearish closing on the first one or the second one. Now you would want to keep this entry. So H1 where the CC price goes in there and then goes down. Okay. So any questions for now, guys? Do you have any questions? Okay. All right. So I'm going to show you on another example right here. So here you're going to have daily to daily. Sorry, not daily to daily. Let's say you have just a daily bullish storyline starting. There's daily H4 breakout. Now I'm going to show you the third way to neglect a lot of levels for entries. Price pulls back, okay? Price pulls back and then go up, makes tons of levels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. To neglect some of the levels instead of just waiting for M5 on each one of them and refining all the combos, H4 gap, H1 gap, whatever. Okay, instead of doing that, simply go to the daily time frame and look which one aligns with these, or just basically start from the daily time frame. What I personally do is I go to the daily, I mark the daily levels that are there, and then I refine them down to the H1 simply like I do with the high risk. So let's say find a daily level in here. Okay, it has a wick, so I'm going to refine that wick on the H1, and I'm going to end up with this. Price pulls back and instantly buy. Okay, now let's just take an example right here. Don't remember the last time I used this. Look, I'm very bad with the examples here, so let's go up, price is bullish. Now we create a daily level. This daily level right here is fresh. You want to refine it down to the H4. So the H4, you can go lower, pick this one, okay? And then from the H4, you can go down to the H1 and pick the lowest H1 level. And that could be your entry. I'm not sure if this one hit your stop. This is 20 pips, okay? It did not hear your stop loss. So that could be another type of entry. As you can see, a lot of opportunities in the market, okay? So yeah, this is pretty much almost all the entry types. So do you guys have any more questions? Can you show an example for an entry level taken into candle close? What do you mean exactly by taking into account candle close? Not really sure what you mean by that. Bar close. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. You just enter when price touches the level. You simply enter. You're not gonna wait for a rejection. No. Yeah, exactly. No problem. So, just give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back, guys. Okay. Okay, I'm back, guys. So I'm going to show you two more entry types right here, and then we can wrap up our session. So the next entry types that I'm going to talk about is simply DRD, but without the H4 breakout. And then we're going to talk about the MM. Okay, some of you might have heard of this term, MM, which is the market mover. It's simply used on H1 or M30. You can use it on H4, but I personally use it on H1 and M30 only. So this is a different, okay, this is different. You can use this out without looking at the storyline. Okay, if you combine it with the storyline, of course it's stronger, but you can take it against the storyline as a medium risk, not high risk. Okay, so what's this daily reject daily? Now in some examples you're gonna have where daily rejects the daily. Right, daily rejects the daily right here. Daily reject daily, but you're not gonna have an H4 breakout. So you're gonna simply have something like this. Yeah. H4 does not do the breakout, but it creates an H4 level up there. Okay, so in this case, you're not going to use these only if you have a QM. You're not going to look at the gaps because you're against storyline. Storyline is bullish right here, so it is not bearish. But you have an A level that gets created and a QM that got created as well. So here you're going to be using the M5 decisional level or M5 breakout or M5 gap break. And here you're going to be entering instantly as a medium risk. Okay, medium risk because you don't have all the signs. Medium risk meaning that you have some signs and not the others. Well, some signs here you have a daily rejection and the momentum. Price should leave in a fast way. You're not going to be entering if price is leaving like choppy or whatever. Now, I'm going to show you one of my losses, okay, because this is not flawless. Okay, this strategy is not 100% win rate. Now, I had daily reject daily right here. An H4 break, even the lowest risk entry type, you can lose that. Now you have the reject daily and H4 breakout, as you can see right here. Now once H4 rejects, you wait for the pullback to the H4 extreme, as you can see, and then the H1 you refine it up there. And here I took a loss, which is totally fucking fine. And you could have even seen M5 there, and yeah, it's simply like that, simply losing a trade. Okay, just accept that. Just accept the fact that you're going to lose some trades, even if they are the best setups. Now, this for me looked very, very good, and I put like 2.5% on it, and I lost it. Okay. I'm not sure if it's different on Owanda. That's why I told you always double check with Owanda. So I didn't really check. So let's just see. It's the same. I think it's the same here. Yeah. Daily reject daily, and then where, bro? So here you have a daily reject daily. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same. Daily reject daily, H4 breakout, then H4 pulls back, and yeah. Forex.com, don't use that shit, bro. Don't use that. Just use Oanda and Pepperstone. So let me just show you an example here. Let's say on Pepperstone, you do the breakout, and on Oanda, you don't have a breakout. Just follow the last straight line. I'm going to show you an example where that's happened to me. So it was in here. Where is that? Just a second. Yeah, here. Right here. Now, this is the example where I lost a lot of fucking money, guys. I lost just a lot of money. Now here, yeah. So here you're gonna have a daily reject daily, as you can see. And on the H4, you're gonna have an H4 bullish breakout, as you can see. Price pulls back to the H4 extreme, refining down to the H1, blah, 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 okay? It completely destroyed me. I was so confused because most of the time, price, when it breaks my low risk, I didn't lose it for a while here. And then when I lost it, simply price just kept going down. I was so confused. I called all my friends, all the mentors I know. I was like, yo, what's going on? And luckily, we all had the same thing going on. So everyone who used Pepperstone, Saxo, we all took a fucking loss here and we were all confused because, you know, it never really does this. So we're confused. So what we did is we just kept talking, and some of them were like, I didn't even buy here. We were like, why? Because he was like, my broker just didn't show that. So as you can see on Oanda, sorry, this is forex.com. What the fuck am I doing? Yeah, I think. Yeah, sorry, that was my bad. Okay. Well, let me just. Yeah, exactly. The same thing that happened in here. The same thing that happened in here. So as you can see, daily reject daily from below, and you don't have the H4 bullish breakout here. I see, man. I actually took a loss in here because I thought I was on one on my second broker. I was trying to look, and I was on forex.com and I've seen the breakout. So yeah, now I see why I took the loss there. So here you have daily reject daily and the H4 breakout. Sorry, you don't have an H4 breakout. As you can see here, no H4 breakout. That's why price completely destroyed me. So H4 on Pepperstone did the breakout, and on one they didn't. So here it is the same thing. There is no breakout, simply a wick. And this one also was unfresh. Yeah. That is the entry type that I was going to talk about. Daily reject daily H4, refined down to the H1. Now the MM market mover is very simple. You're going to look at structure breaks that comes from gaps. So you're gonna have something like this. Boom, boom. Price. This is a line chart. You're gonna go to the line chart and look for breaks. Price breaking this low. Then you go to the H1 and you look at the last gap level that broke this H1. Now that last gap is gonna look something like this, right? So you're gonna have 2 wicks right here. Now you're gonna mark both wicks. You're not gonna mark just this. Of course, you're gonna basically mark this, but not just that, alongside with 2 wicks. Now, when price pulls back, you can use one of the M5 confirmations or use the M1 trend line break. So what is the M1 trend line break? So I'm gonna go with, see, this is H1, right? Price is going up on M1. Okay. And then something like this happens, right? So you're gonna take a look at this structure and focus on the lowest 2 points of this structure. So the lowest 2 points of this structure is not this, not this, not this, is basically this one and this one, right? So you're gonna align these 2 points and draw your trend line. So once this trend line breaks, wait for pullback and then you can sell. This is your confirmation on MM, or you can use the M5, okay? The M5 that I showed you. So let's take a look in here. So let's go to the line chart, look at something like this. You have an H1 breakout right here. And you look at the last gap that gave you the breakout. So the last gap that gave us the breakout is this one. Now this gap, you're gonna mark both wicks. Now here, the bottom wick is basically so long, so it doesn't make sense to mark a 200 pips zone or whatever. Just mark this one and you're gonna mark that one, okay? So here you have 2 MM areas. and then you can use your M5 in there. So I go to the M5, and here on the M5, what do we have? Did M5 show me anything in here? No, simply boom, just destroyed it. Now the same thing here. Now, what did M5 show me here? So it's quite confusing. Did it show me anything? But here we have a gap that broke the gap. Price pulls back to that gap, and then you can enter. So this gap broke this gap, right? Don't get confused. This gap broke this gap. Price pulls back, and then enter. This could be our confirmation, even though price did go in much drawdown in here, as you can see. This is called the MMG market move. We can call it the market move. So, any questions, guys? So if you see this discrepancy or whatever that word is on one or that could that TPO of that, what the fuck is that question, bro? I don't really get it. So if I guess you're talking about the brokers. If I see the Pepperstone giving a bullish breakout or one that is not giving a bullish breakout, I'm gonna keep selling as if I'm in a bearish storyline. Yeah, exactly. I don't have a favorite entry type. Whatever the market gives me, I take. So if it gives me a pullback and M5 shows me there, or I have a good refinement there, I'm just entering. If it goes back to the extreme, I take it. Of course, like the best entry is the extreme because it rarely fails. But yeah, whatever the market gives me, I take. I don't look for a certain entry type. Okay, I look for whatever the market gives me, entry type, I take. Okay, that's it. So yeah. One more example of the MM. Yeah, sure. Let's take a look. So here, what do you have? You have a breakout. So you look at the gap that did the breakout. This is the gap that did the breakout, right? I'm gonna mark that, mark this, and use your M5 in there. I don't think it can go back that much on M5. It can, definitely can. So here you have a simple breakout. Price goes up, down, gives you that breakout. Okay, price pulls back, supposed to pull back in here, so you could have missed the basically the entry. But if you used the engulf, which I'm going to show in the next session, you could have catched it up. Okay, so yeah, this is basically the MM H1 gap break in the low. You can use that on M30 H1. You can definitely use it on H4, but don't do that only for direction. Okay, some people use the H4 MMs for direction. They look for a pullback into that and use some confirmations on M15 as well. So yeah, is everything clear about the MM, guys? Market move. Now your next homework is going to be quite interesting, guys. Your next homework is going to be you, my students, providing me with signals for the next week with everything that I taught you. Okay, all the entry types that I showed you, every refinement that I showed you, you're gonna be basically showing me, not showing, basically giving me signals. Okay, and they should be before, not after the trade happens. Okay, it should be before, and then we look at the results. It doesn't matter if you lose, guys. Okay, it's fine. So yeah, that is going to be your next homework for this week. And then on the next session, I'm going to give you a total different approach. And after the mentorship ends, you're going to see if today's knowledge is more suitable for you or the next. So next session, we're going to be talking about engulfing. It's a way simpler approach. You can look at the storyline from a different perspective. Basically, direction we're going to be using weekly, controlled by H4, daily controlled by H1. We're going to talk about roadblocks, and we're going to be talking about ECMTF and how you can control the lower time frames down to 1 minute. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to get M1 entries, M5, M15, M30 entries. Okay, so that is going to be what we're going to cover in the next session. So if you don't have any more questions, let me know so we can wrap it up right now. Amazing, guys. Yeah, so whoever recorded the session, please send me a DM and send me the recording over there, and I'll be sharing it to the group, or just send it there. Okay, guys? So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed today's session. Sorry for my low energy today, and I just could not concentrate as usual, so I'm gonna do my best. If I forgot anything in today's session, which I'm sure I did, I'm gonna try to tell you in the next session. Okay, guys. So yeah, I'll catch you up on the next one. Bye bye, guys.